taking you guys through a pretty standard leg workout of mine, and as you'll see, I'm beginning here with leg extensions and I'm supersetting them with seated leg curls. So what this allows me to do is to get an awareness of the quad in the fully shortened position. The leg extension is really the only efficient way to get there. Also, with both movements, maximizing my mind-muscle connection to start by choosing movements that are braced and stable. So as you see here, you'll see that red band that I'm using. I'm actually using that for a little bit more stability with the leg extension. So you're stable in terms of pulling your hips down and back, but as you fatigue, your hips want to come up off of the pad or off of the seat. So what I use the band for, it mimics a seat belt to keep me locked down and to allow me to keep my torso still and keep my hips in check while I continue to contract my quads until failure. With the seated leg curl, you'll see I will have the artificial stability coming from the thigh pad there. So again, with this one, keeping my thigh locked against that pad, also keeping the hips down and back while I contract backward. And the advantage of a seated leg curl is not only the bracing like I just talked about, but also a very even profile in terms of what we can produce. So as you see, as I get to the top of the rep there, the lever or the moment arm of the seated leg curl machine is farthest away from the axis, and we'll get closer. We'll get closer as I contract toward myself, which will match what our muscle's able to produce force-wise. We're able to produce more force in the length and mid-ranges. You guys have probably heard me say that 1,000 times, but that's really one of the key variables to look for in terms of exercise selection, especially early on in a workout when you're fresh and you're trying to get the most output out of your exercises. In regards to programming with this superset, I stuck with 3 sets. And usually I do a reverse pyramid style. You guys know that I'm a huge advocate of hitting your top set first after your warm-up sets and then backing off in weight as you move down. So like I said, a reverse pyramid. This is the only time where I really will advocate a traditional pyramid. So the first set being the lighter set, and then my second or third sets after that being a little bit heavier. In this case, my first set of each of the exercises was about 10 to 12 reps. And then my second set were about 8 to 10 reps each, with the third set being a double drop set on both exercises. And why I do that, especially with this exercise pairing, specifically with leg extensions, I like to be able to get as much blood flow and as much of a strong connection from the nervous system into my quads and through my knees especially before I get into heavier loads. So it's a little bit more of a safety thing, more of a longevity thing. Will you run into problems if you do 8 to 10, then 10 to 12? Of course not, but maybe down the line. But that's all skeptical. That's just the reasoning behind me following more of a traditional pyramid style as opposed to the reverse pyramid. Then moving on to the heavy output exercises, hack squats with a reverse band, as you'll see here. This was my top set. Worked up to 545s and a 25. Top set of hacks usually ranges between the 5 and 8 rep range. This set I hit 5, a real struggle, but a great profile overall with the reverse band. Allowed me to contract through the reps without having a real distinct failure point. So if you don't have reverse band, a band to use the reverse band method, definitely check that out in the future. I post a lot of exercises using that principle, and I can also post some setup videos if you do have bands as well. 2 sets there. Second set was a double drop set. Then moving on to leg press. Again, you'll see me using bands, but this time the traditional banded from the bottom setup. So you'll see people, and you'll see it all the time, specifically on social media, loading the weight on the leg press, going down, contracting hard up, and then coming up to the top and resting for extended periods of time before they go for another rep. The band here alleviates that problem because as you contract up, that band stretches out and provides more tension, pulling you down. So you're having tension at the bottom coming from the plates and at the top coming from the band. Programming with this one, just like I did with the hack, 2 sets This one I actually kept the weight the same, hit 9 or 10 reps, I believe, on both sets with 7 plates in the band, and then performed a double drop set from there. My drops consisted of taking 2 plates off at a time while leaving the band on to use the same profile throughout my drop sets. So you saw the first superset, then my 2 heavy output movements, and now transitioning into a little bit more of a metabolic burner for quads to finish. Simply just 1 set, an easy bar on my back, doing some walking lunges. It's an 80-pound easy bar. I selected a weight that was light enough to allow me to go all the way down this hallway and then all the way back. And then from there, you'll see as I fail with the 80-pound easy bar on my back, extending the set by doing some body weight lunges to failure. So all in all, just hitting 1 set with this, looking for a little bit more output in the quads, getting that knee to fully flex across the toe, getting as much quad emphasis out of this lunge as possible. You could do that by shortening your stride and, like I said, really focusing on driving that knee forward over the toe. And all in all, with a pass down, a pass back with the weight, and then coming down and back again with just body weight. So overall, this is probably a set consisting of 20 or 30 plus reps. So really just getting that blood flow in to finish after the heavy output movements, as you see. Just dropping the easy bar and then heading back. Sometimes I will favor doing some metabolic work at the end of my quad sessions with the leg extension. And even if I do have leg extensions programmed first, I will do leg extensions again later in the workout for a different purpose, just not today. So don't ever rule that out in terms of my programming. Don't rule that out in terms of your programming as well. What you will learn over time is that there are certain points or certain areas of value within a single exercise that, when programmed at different points of the workout, can provide, like I said, those different areas of value. And that will vary based on the exercise, based on what kind of stimulus you're trying to achieve, and many other factors within an individual's program. So as I finish up the lunges, this is the final quad set. Then moving on to hamstrings, pretty standard hamstring protocol for today. Starting with the lying leg curl, performing 2 sets there. Second set being a double drop set. Since I already did the seated leg curl, moved on to a lying leg curl. Very similar profiles with the lying and the seated leg curl. As you get up to the top, tension drops off slightly. One advantage you will get with the seated leg curl, as I spoke to earlier, is a little bit more bracing. You're able to have that thigh pad to counteract the force of you contracting your hamstrings. Lying leg curl, you're able to place yourself flat. So a little bit more likely to cheat on this one. This is one where you really have to focus on cueing those quads into the pad, making sure your torso stays straight and your butt doesn't fly up. But other than that, either one is fine. This one I just wanted to program later on in the workout. After those 2 sets, moved on to barbell Romanian deadlifts. Been doing these with the barbell a lot lately and working on pyramiding up in weight and progressively overloading in terms of both execution and load. So you guys may have seen on my Instagram story last leg session actually hitting 315 on the Romanian deadlift, but I really wanted to cue keeping my lats tight. I really improved on that there. 2 sets, top set with 315, back off set with 275, no drops on the Romanian deadlift, and then just showing a little bit more of a hamstring burnout. So a 45-degree glute ham raise. This is a very tricky movement. It doesn't look like I'm doing too much, but the same motion applies with the Romanian deadlifts as this glute ham raise. So I'm cueing to hinge my hips back, drive my quads into the pad, and then as I contract up, squeeze my glutes and contract my hamstrings as I get to the top. I only did 1 set of these, looking to keep these more in my programming, especially toward the end of the hamstring portion of my workout. But doing the 1 set till failure with body weight, you can add weight if you need, but 1 set was enough to cap off the leg session.